You can clean up what you've messed up in the past. And essentially, if you show good faith, the government typically will give you credit for that. Not always. It depends if they think you had an ulterior motive before. You knew you were breaking the law, and all of a sudden you're trying to get clean because someone's left your employee who you think is going to turn you in, whatever the motivation might be.
Which is the biggest source of audits.
And the most likely audit you're going to see are on I-9s, not on this E-Verify system. Okay, it's I-9s that they're auditing. The other area you will see audits are on H-1B filings. This is a type of visa that allows people to work here. Interestingly, when you, the employer, petition to have this new hire go to work for you, you pay certain fees to the government. Among those fees is a nice $500 pop for prevention of fraud. That's the same money the government now uses to come out and audit you. It's a great system. Pay for yourself. Anybody here ever had an H-1 audit conducted in their offices?
Wow, that's a miracle.
Yeah.
How many are done? How many of those audits?
Last year there was 25,000 done around the United States. Keeping in mind there's only, in any given year, only about 65 to 85,000 H-1Bs approved. So a big chunk of the employers, and many of those are done by the same company. So many employers are in fact visited, and they don't give you notice. They don't have a warrant, and then typically it's done by a private investigatory agency acting on behalf of USCIS.
If you remember nothing else today, remember what Chuck said with regard to your I-9s. Have them audited. Have them audited. If you've never had them done, have them done now. If you can, have them done at least on an annual basis. And it does help to have an outside person do them, but at least have them audited.
If I want to hire the person that was in the United States with a previous employee that gave the paperwork to be legal here, how long after she ended the relationship with that first company that bring here, can I hire?
Well, that depends. If this other employer got them a green card, got them permanent
No
residence,
green card, no. A permit, work permit.
like an H-1B work visa, they can transfer employers immediately, but you have to file for them to work for you.
It's not immediately. The person ended the relationship with the company that bring her to the United States. And if it's another company that wants to hire her, how long?
How long can they stay without employment is what you're asking before you can hire them.
How long after? This is the person. This company bring her to the United States. She's no longer with her. Now this company wants to hire her.
Okay. That person is out of status. If that person was brought to the United States to work for a specific company, all of our work visas are employer specific. If you stop working for an employer, you lose your status at that point.
No. But this company wants to hire her
Right,
now.
but they haven't hired her yet, and she is not with her previous employer.
No.
That means she's out of status.
But
Depending on how long it's been since they lived in their previous employer.
1 year.
1 year?
No, it's not my case. I am green card.
They are out of status and will likely have to leave the country before they can start work with the new company.
It's okay, we're not with the government.
I can show you, no problem. But what thing is, for hire this person needs to go back to her country and then come here?
Right.
Oh, thank you.
Well, welcome to our world.
There's essentially no grace period, but the H-1 transfers are a little bit different, and as a practical matter, we see a grace period there, but otherwise, no grace period.
Certainly not a year.
Two questions. One is, what are the fines and penalties for inadequately filling out I-9? And then how long do you keep the I-9s once the employee has left?
In terms of keeping the I-9s, it's the 1 and 3 year rule, whichever, in other words, if someone has left your employment, and it's been a year, and they were hired more than 3 years ago, you can get rid of the I-9. But that's...
How?
1 year from the date of termination or 3 years from the date of hire, whichever is longer. You got to do the math.
In regard to amounts, if it's a paperwork violation, it's anywhere from $110 to $1,100 per violation, that's per hire. And if it's someone who's not authorized to work here, it's anywhere from $220 to $2,200. And if it's a combination, that's about $3,300 times the number of people who are working for you that turn out to be legal. It's a very expensive venture.
And so, Mark, just if I could just make the point, there's a lot of compliance that has to get done. and it's taking your eye off the ball of how do I grow my company. But it's got to get done anyway, so it makes sense to get it done right the first time. Because if you screw up the first time, you're going to have to do it again anyway and pay that much more money and have that much more of a headache. So,
and you all know the I-9 is only a one-page form. It happens to be the world's most complicated one-page form. There are 42 different ways to screw up that one-page form and get fined these amounts.
42?
42.
And we have yet to audit a company, no matter how small, that does their I-9s perfectly.
Doesn't happen.
It just does not happen. You may think you're doing them right. I will guarantee you, I will bet you lunch, that there will be mistakes on those I-9s. We've seen it for 25 years. It hasn't changed.
One more?
One more question.
I read somewhere that around 20% of the people that are put in to the E-Verify come back with false information, one way or another. So if someone comes back with false information and they say to me, no, that's not true, and here I can show you why it's not true, am I still stuck with not being able to hire them, or what's the process to get their information cleaned up?
Well, the error rate's supposedly down to 4% at this point, if you believe the government. I don't know how many of you believe the government. I'm typically not a big fan of the government, but
And the majority of errors occur with American citizens, by the way.
by the way, not with foreign nationals. When you use E-Verify, you actually can only use E-Verify people you've actually hired. So they're your employees. You then run E-Verify. If it comes back in what they call a tentative non-confirmation, the employee is then given by you a piece of paper that instructs them to either go to immigration or to Social Security to get that fixed. And they have 8 days to come back to you. So it's not an immediate, you're off the payroll kind of